everyone. Ready for a deep dive into a story that's sending shockwaves through the tech world?
Definitely.
Indonesia just made a move that's got everyone talking.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
They banned the iPhone 16.
Wow. Banned it, like, completely.
Yep. No sales, no imports. They're even calling any iPhone 16 in the country illegal.
Yeah.
It's been all over the news.
Yeah, I think I saw a headline or two.
And we're here to dig a little deeper, go beyond those flashy headlines,
Right.
figure out what's really going on.
Sounds fascinating. What do we have to work with?
We've got a stack of articles here, different perspectives, different angles. We're going to break it all down.
Excellent.
I think what makes this story so juicy is that it's not just about a country disliking a product.
Right.
This is about economics, global power dynamics, maybe even a glimpse into the future of how countries and big tech are going to interact.
Definitely. There's a lot more to unpack here than just a product ban.
Absolutely. So let's map out the players, right?
Okay.
You've got the Indonesian government on one side, Apple on the other.
The big tech giant.
And caught in the middle, millions of Indonesians who, until recently, loved their iPhones. Makes you think, what happens when your favorite device suddenly becomes illegal?
Exactly. It's a real-world dilemma playing out right now. And it's more than just a sales ban. The Indonesian government is actually declaring any iPhone 16 within their borders as illegal to use.
Whoa, illegal to use? That's serious.
It is. And they're not stopping there. The Apple Watch Series 10 is on their blacklist as well.
The plot thickens. So is every iPhone now contraband in Indonesia? What about older models?
Seems like older models are still okay, at least for now. It's specifically the newest iPhone and Apple Watch that are targeted.
Interesting tactic. This targeted ban feels like a very deliberate message to Apple.
Definitely strategic.
Okay, I'm all ears. Why is Indonesia coming after Apple so aggressively? It feels like there's more to this story than just disliking a product.
You're right on the money there. This whole situation goes back to 2020 when Apple made this big public pledge to invest a hefty chunk of change into Indonesia.
How much are we talking about?
They promised a whopping 1.71 trillion rupiah.
Whoa, trillion with a T.
That's over 100 million US dollars. A serious commitment, right?
Yeah, that's not messing around. So did Apple just back out? Did they fail to deliver on their promise?
Not entirely. They've invested most of it, actually, clocking in at about 1.48 trillion rupiah.
Okay, but that still leaves
a gap. About $15 million that hasn't materialized.
15 million. It's a lot of money, sure.
Definitely.
But it seems pretty small compared to the total they promised. Is that really enough to justify a full-blown ban? I'm trying to see the logic here.
It's not just about the money itself. It's about the principle. You got to see it from Indonesia's point of view.
Okay, I'm listening.
They're a nation on a fast track to economic development. They're eager to attract foreign investment.
Right.
But they want to make sure those investments benefit their own economy, their own workforce. Makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. They don't want to become just another manufacturing hub, right? They want to see those investments translate into real benefits for their people.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got this missing money. Is that the only sticking point, or is there more at play here? I have a feeling we're just scratching the surface.
Your intuition's spot on. There's another crucial piece of this puzzle. It's called the TKDN Certification.
TKDN. What's that all about?
Basically, it's a regulation in Indonesia that says if you want to sell certain products, their phones, cars, electronics, a big chunk of those products has to be made locally.
Local content, locally sourced materials, that sort of thing.
Exactly. We're talking 40% local content.
Smart move. It ensures that foreign companies aren't just extracting profits, right? They're actually contributing to Indonesia's economy. So is Apple failing to meet this TKDN requirement?
They have applied for the certification.
Okay.
But it's still pending.
And I bet that missing investment money isn't helping their case.
You got it. It's all connected. The Indonesian government is basically saying, show us you're serious about supporting our economy, then we'll talk certifications.
It's a power move, for sure. Indonesia's not messing around. They're holding these big global companies accountable.
Definitely a sign of the times. Emerging economies are finding their voice.
Right.
And they're not afraid to use it.
Okay, so we've got the why, the investment dispute, the TKDN holdup. But what about the impact? Who wins, who loses in this high-stakes game of iPhone chicken?
Well, it's clear that Indonesian consumers are feeling the pinch right now. No shiny new iPhones for them, even if they have the money. And for a lot of people, these devices aren't just luxury gadgets.
Right.
They're essential for work, communication, even accessing government services.
So this ban creates a real dilemma for a lot of people.
It does. But on the other side of the coin, you've got companies like Samsung, Xiaomi, Oppo.
The competition.
Exactly.
Right.
They've been playing by Indonesia's rules all along, and now they stand to gain a huge advantage.
While Apple fans are scrambling, their rivals are probably popping champagne corks. But what about Apple itself? Losing access to such a massive market can't be good for their business, right?
It's definitely a blow. Indonesia's population is enormous. We're talking bigger than the entire United States.
Yeah.
Apple can't afford to ignore this. The question is, will they try to play nice and negotiate, or will they risk getting shut out of a major player in the global tech game?
That's the million-dollar question. Or should I say, the $15 million question. But there's something about this whole situation that feels bigger. Like it has implications beyond just iPhones, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. This has the potential to send ripples throughout the entire tech industry.
Right.
It highlights a shift in power dynamics. Emerging markets are no longer willing to just be passive players in the global economy. They're demanding a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to flex their muscles.
So what started as a phone ban might actually end up changing the rules of the game for everyone. This is where things get really interesting. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we need to understand how this is actually playing out on the ground in Indonesia. What are people saying? How are they coping? And what's Apple's next move? We'll delve into all that after a quick break. Okay, so we've laid out the big picture, the investment issues, the TKDN certification. It's like a real-life game of chess.
It is.
Indonesia making their move, Apple trying to figure out their next play.
High stakes for sure.
But, in all this talk of economics and regulations, we can't forget about the human element.
Right.
The people in Indonesia. How are they reacting to this sudden shift in their tech landscape?
Yeah, it's actually a fascinating social experiment unfolding in real time.
Totally.
You have to remember, for many people, a smartphone isn't just a gadget. It's their lifeline to the world.
Exactly. It's their connection to work, to family, to information.
So when their go-to device is suddenly declared illegal, well, the reactions are bound to be mixed.
Yeah, I can only imagine I'd be pretty bummed if I couldn't get the latest phone.
Oh, for sure. So what we're seeing from our sources is a whole spectrum of responses.
Yeah.
Some people are frustrated, especially those who are really looking forward to upgrading to the iPhone 16 or the Apple Watch Series 10.
Right. They had their heart set on it, and now they're left in limbo.
Exactly. And for some, it's more than just missing out on the latest tech.
Right.
These devices are essential for their daily lives, their work, their communication.
So it's a real disruption for them.
Definitely. But here's the interesting thing. On the flip side, there's a wave of national pride surging through some segments of the population.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more.
They see this as a victory.
A victory.
Yeah. Like Indonesia, standing up to a global giant, saying, we're not going to be pushed around. We're going to prioritize our own interests.
So it's become about more than just the iPhone.
Exactly. It's about national pride, economic independence, taking control of their own destiny.
It's a statement.
It is a powerful one.
So we've got frustrated consumers, proud nationalists, and a whole lot of debate happening.
Yep, a very dynamic situation.
Okay, but let's shift focus for a second. What about Apple? How are they responding to all of this?
That's the intriguing part. They've been remarkably silent.
Silent. Really? No big press releases, no fiery statements?
Nope, nothing official. No public negotiation tactics. It's a calculated silence.
A classic power move.
Could be.
You think they're trying to downplay the whole thing? Or maybe working things out behind the scenes?
Some experts believe that's exactly what's happening. Quiet diplomacy, backroom deals, maybe even accelerating those investment plans to appease the Indonesian government.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, losing access to a market that size would be a huge blow to their bottom line.
Absolutely. No company wants to walk away from that kind of opportunity.
But what if those negotiations fall apart? What if Apple just says, look, it's not worth the hassle, we're out?
Now, that's where things get really interesting. A complete withdrawal by Apple. That would be a bold move.
Risky too, right?
Huge gamble. Huge consequences. It could send shockwaves through the entire tech industry.
Other countries might see that and think, hey, we can stand up to these big companies too. We can set our own terms.
Exactly. It could trigger a domino effect, reshaping the whole relationship between tech giants and the countries they operate in.
We're talking a fundamental shift in global power dynamics.
Possibly. The old model of globalization where these big corporations basically call the shots, that's being challenged.
And Indonesia's iPhone ban might just be the first shot fired.
It's a fascinating turning point, a glimpse into a future where the balance of power might look very different.
Okay, so we've got Indonesian consumers grappling with this new reality. We've got a silent but strategic Apple, and the potential for this whole thing to rewrite the rules of the global tech game.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but now I want to zoom out a bit.
Okay.
Look at the long game. What does this mean for Indonesia's future? How will this ban shape their economy, their relationship with foreign investors, their place in the global tech scene? It's a big question.
It is. But I think to answer it, we need to shift our perspective. We need to understand how Indonesia sees themselves and their role in the world.
All right, so we've covered the immediate fallout, the drama, the global implications, but now I'm really curious about the long game.
The long game, yeah.
What does this iPhone ban tell us about the future? Indonesia's economy, their relationship with foreign investors, their role in the tech world. Big questions.
Big questions, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think to answer them, we need to kind of shift our perspective.
Okay, how so?
Imagine looking at this whole situation through Indonesia's eyes.
Okay, through their lens.
Right. For decades, the narrative of globalization has been written by multinational corporations.
Right.
Emerging markets were seen as these passive players, just receiving whatever the big guys decided.
Yeah, just following the leader.
But Indonesia, they're flipping the script.
Flipping the script? How so?
They're showing the world that they're not just a market to be conquered. They're a force to be reckoned with. They're not content with just being the assembly line. They want to build their own tech ecosystem.
So they're not just reacting to Apple, they're proactively shaping their own destiny.
Exactly. They're playing the long game. This iPhone ban, it's a bold signal that they're serious about climbing the value chain.
Okay, ambitious goal, but how does banning a popular product like the iPhone help them achieve that? Seems counterintuitive.
It's a strategic move. Think of it as a way to incentivize those deeper investments.
Deeper investments.
By enforcing that TKDN certification, they're pushing companies like Apple to put more skin in the game.
Skin in the game, meaning?
More investment in the local economy. Transfer of knowledge, technology, manufacturing expertise. It's about building up Indonesia's own capabilities.
So it's less about punishing Apple and more about leveraging their presence to boost their own economy.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, if you want to play in our sandbox, you got to play by our rules.
And those rules are designed to benefit Indonesia in the long run.
Long-term growth, that's the key. And it's not just about smartphones either. This is a blueprint for how they plan to engage with all foreign investors.
So it's a message to the world. Indonesia is open for business.
Yes.
But they're not just going to roll over.
Yeah.
They're playing hardball.
Strategic partnerships, sustainable growth. That's what they're after.
Wow, it's amazing how this one event, a phone ban, can reveal so much about a country's ambitions and how the whole dynamic of globalization is changing.
Absolutely. It shatters those old assumptions about emerging markets just following the leader.
Right.
Indonesia's writing their own chapter, a chapter about self-reliant strategic partnerships.
Yeah.
And a commitment to their own unique path.
So what happens next? Does this approach work? Does Indonesia become a major player in the tech world?
Only time will tell, but it's definitely a story worth watching.
Yeah.
If they can successfully navigate this transition, attract the right kind of investment, nurture their own talent, they have the potential to be a real powerhouse.
And it sets an example for other emerging economies too, right?
Oh, absolutely. They don't have to settle for the old rules. They can leverage their strengths, set their own terms, and create their own success stories.
We're talking a whole new era of globalization.
One where the playing field is a little more level, where everyone has a chance to win.
Man, we started with a phone ban and ended up talking about the future of the world.
Well, all connected.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
Any final thoughts for our listeners before we sign off?
Yeah, just think about this. The next time you use your smartphone,
Okay.
think about all the forces that brought it into your hands.
The economics, the politics.
It's a reminder that technology is never just about the gadget itself.
It's about the choices we make, the power dynamics at play, and the future we're building together.
Well said.
This has been The Deep Dive. Thanks for listening.